bunch of things going on. Some of the things I can't talk about, Robin, because of the sensitive nature of the Howard Stern production company is in development on several projects.
Yes.
Yes, there are several deals being made as we speak.
Are you part of that big announcement today?
From who? Is the Howard Stern production company having a big announcement? No, actually, I'm also working on ending the war in Kosovo.
Oh, I see. You and Jesse Jackson.
Yeah. To make up for all the bad press I'm getting about Denver.
Right. You have to go do something wonderful.
Yeah, I hightailed it out of town, baby. It was like kind of weird. It was like, I called Gary, I go, hey, has this thing died down yet? Or what? No.
Big article yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Where was that?
It was in the Daily News.
Yeah, what, blasting me?
Yeah, maybe you've gone too far this time.
You know, did you hear, there was Richard Roper, who was from the Chicago Sun-Times, and it's hard for me to figure out who's on this tape, but there was a bunch of guys in Chicago discussing this, and they were even saying, like, how ridiculous the whole thing was. And maybe I'll play it for you. Here, check this out.
And you've got to believe that these parents feel as bad, no matter what anybody is saying, oh, you didn't do things right, you forgot to spank these kids when they were 5 years old. Believe me, these parents feel bad enough.
But you can't put that in the same category as something like what's going on with Howard Stern, can you?
Well, you know, there's stuff going on with Howard Stern. People don't know about this. The Colorado State Legislature's condemning him, and Rocky Mountain News, which is one of the main papers in Denver, ran an editorial saying he's got to get out. The Denver Post reporting on this. The local affiliate that Howard's on in Denver is taking hundreds of calls because of remarks Howard Stern made about how attractive. I'm trying to put this in perspective. It's hard to do, but Howard Stern was trying to find a reason, and he was trying to make the point. He didn't do it in the most articulate fashion. He was trying to make the point that if somebody goes in and robs a store and kills somebody, you know, well, the motivation was robbery and they were criminals, or if there's, you know, terrible assaults on people, rapes, you go, well, okay, these were deviant minds, they were rapists. And he was talking about how these kids just went into school and shot it up. There's not even a criminal rationalization for what they were doing. And he was talking about how attractive the young girls were at Columbine High School. And people have lifted those remarks and pretty much made it into this thing where Howard Stern was going, wow, what a bunch of babes at that high school.
Thank you.
Again, you know, Howard Stern is not the preeminent social commentator of our times, and people shouldn't expect him to put things in perspective. But he's been talking about this thing for a week. He talked about it with his daughter on the air. He's actually had some intelligent things to say about it. To me, people getting all worked up, again, about what Howard Stern's saying in some studio on the East Coast that's getting carried on a Denver radio station, that's not the problem here.
Yeah, I mean, he is not to blame, but it's an easy distraction. And a lot of what Howard Stern says, even the most ultra stuff, is what a lot of people are thinking. I mean, there has never been a tragedy in this country, including the death of President Kennedy, that people haven't joked about later. For some people, that is a way of getting relief.
And did you notice that Rick Hogan just used the word ultra?
I certainly did.
That was very, very nicely done. Well,
first time on local television.
Yeah. One final word on Howard Stern. Yes, certainly his remarks are taken out of context, but you guys certainly can understand how, especially in Colorado, that is just not well received right now.
And I think you guys kind of glossed over what he said. I mean, the out-of-context stuff was a lot more graphic.
No, it wasn't.
Just the girls were attractive.
I don't think we glossed over this.
I know. See, they just make comments.
This is what the news media does.
I know.
They need sensationalism, so they have to blow things up and make it bigger than they are.
Well, these guys say that, too. They go, that's not,
Here for 2 hours talking about what he said. We could also talk about things he said before that, after that, the next several days. I'm saying if you're mourning 15 people in your town, and I know if I'm in that situation, it's hard to place yourself in those shoes, but if someone comes to you and says, oh, Howard Stern was making jokes about this, you'd say, I don't care. I'm mourning people I love. I couldn't care less what Howard Stern had to say. Why are you listening to the radio now anyway?
In the wake of tragedies like this, too, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of rage, there's no focal point for that anger. So Howard Stern becomes turn the radio off.
Yeah, I'm the target now.
You want to make one final word on this, too. The Colorado State Legislature.
I bet you that woman, by the way, who said that, never heard my show, ever.
I can guarantee you that.
They love to condemn me.
Most of the people who love to blow it up have no idea what they're talking about.
Wait, these guys make some more good points.
We won't pass gay rights legislation.
Yeah. They say, it's funny how the Colorado State Legislature, who condemned Howard Stern, won't pass gay rights legislation.
Right.
Wait.
Won't do anything about gun laws, but they're going to get all worked up into a lather about Howard Stern because it makes them look good for the moment.
Right, and that certainly would be wrong.
Right. Well, anyway, so, that thing continues to go on. Yeah.
Fester.
I didn't know they ran an article yesterday. I could explain it from here tomorrow, make all kinds of, statements. It wouldn't make a difference. They want to crucify me, which is ridiculous. In fact, a friend of mine called who listens to the show pretty regularly and is my harshest critic, one of my harshest critics, and said, you know...
He listens and he's a harsh critic?
Well, you know, like, if not about what you might think, like, might say to me, hey, I thought that was funny, this wasn't funny, or, you know what I mean? Like, we'll critique sometimes. And said to me, gee, I listened to you the whole morning. I can't believe how sensitive you were about the whole thing. He said, I thought I was listening to a different program. I said, I know. And I said, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how they're trying to crucify me. And, but I don't even feel right complaining in light of all those people who died.
Right.
I don't have it so bad.
Stupid.
You want to crucify me, go ahead. You know, it's just, you do get kind of railroaded.
That's right. You're on a train, you can't even stop it.
No, you get railroaded, but what are you going to do?
Can't get off.
Yeah. And everybody's disgusted by my comments, but the people who are disgusted never even heard my comments. Anybody?
Well, they've now created a whole thing around it.
Yeah.
They got you saying everything.
I know. And by the way, thank you, Daily News, for saying that I might have gone too far this time. With what? I didn't do anything.
This was, 2 sentences out of hours of conversation.
Right. That, by the way, competing disc jockeys who were against me in the morning in Denver went ahead and pulled and played over and over again on their radio station.
Yeah, you weren't offending Denver.
No.
They were.
They were. They're the ones who got everybody worked up. Anybody in Denver, no one in Denver complained until they worked everyone into a lather. Yeah, I mean, if you take 2 sentences of mine out of context and play them over and over again, first of all, why would you do that if people are grieving?
Jeez. I love how you erupt in the middle of these times.
I think I blew out actual chunks.
You're either belching or
blowing. But why hide anything from the audience?
You could have done that when we were in commercial.
I know. I couldn't, though. I had the need to do it now.
Oh, dear.
Right. Maybe I should be yanked for that.
You did something.
Yeah, so, anyway, all that's going on. And then I expected, like, our Denver radio station to have already thrown us off the air, but they didn't, which by the way, I applaud their backbone.
Must be, kind of strong.
No, they are. They are, and I admire them for it because I think they know, I hope they know I didn't do anything like that. You know, I certainly explained it to, I think, the general manager. I'm not sure who I was talking to. Didn't they tell me I wasn't talking to the general manager, I was talking to the public relations minister or something. Yeah. I don't know. They have some guy with some weird title. And I was like, oh, okay. Whoever I was talking to, I tried to, like, make some sense out of it.
I hear you.
Hey, man, you're on the air. This is Kevin.
Yeah, Howard.
Hey, dude.
Yeah, up there in New Hampshire, where you're not even on the air, they had a report on the news, made it sound like, that's why you took off Thursday and Fridays, because you were pretty much running scared.
I was wondering if that would play into it as well, that we were off the air for a couple of days.
Yeah.
People might write that had something to do with it.
I like that. I like that in New Hampshire.
I remember Howard talking about his trip to L.A., so I figured that's where he went anyway.
Yeah.
It was outrageous. They just made the one comment about, having sex with the good-looking girls. And
yeah. Well, dude, that shows you how they all lie. It's like, I don't even know how like, a reporter in good conscience, especially one in New Hampshire.
I called right back and told them, this ain't the way it happened.
Well, how could a reporter
every day? And
how could a reporter in good conscience, especially one in New Hampshire who's probably at the start of his career, because if he's at the end of his career, it's pretty sad.
Right.
How could somebody sit there and like just make something up like that if you want to be a journalist, which is based on finding out the truth?
And they mentioned how your WB affiliate in Seattle pulled your Saturday show because of it.
Which makes no sense. What does that have to do with anything?
And this is weird, because, I've only listened to you now for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why I never listened to you before, because all these comments in the news and everything, Howard Stern is the devil. And,
right.
And then one day I happened to catch you, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I would think though.
Not nothing, but, threats and nothing.
I would think all this negative publicity actually makes my ratings go up, but I'm not really looking to get ratings that way, but I'll take them any way I can get them.
You know what I do for the Saturday Night Show? I watch it as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blind even, and I watch it.
Right.
It's radio, so it works.
Right.
And if I'm not home to watch it, I put it on for you anyways and leave it on while I'm out.
Good.
Yeah, I've got to get some ratings.
I see. So you're in New Hampshire, you don't get our radio show.
Well, I do, because I pay $33 a month to get your radio show.
Oh, really? Oh,
because I hook my cable up to my stereo.
Oh, I get it. And you get us out of BCN in Boston.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Hey, can I get Woodstock tickets?
You know what? I got to, he's a blind guy. All right, this is the last time I'm doing this, because everyone's just Gary says I'm giving them away too easy.
Howard, this is the last pair you can give away for a little bit.
Oh, really?
That'll be your first chance maybe to see a blind guy tripping his head off.
All right, hold on. You actually do acid?
Oh, I tripped out all weekend on
What do you see?
Yeah, what do you see when you do acid?
Oh, it's amazing, dude, because it's like a liquid blackness that I see normally.
Yeah.
You know, it's like dark, but it's all in motion at all times.
Right.
And it just gets like all colorful. It's like there's like things like you could almost, there's something there, it's something there. It's almost like
you can see colors.
Reach, yeah, colors. It's like the ultimate kaleidoscope.
Wow, well, you know what?
Do you know what the colors are?
Oh yeah, well I've had sight for 10 years. I got shot when I was 17 years old.
Oh man.
I got my optic nerve. I can't smell, taste, or see a thing.
Wow.
You can't see, taste, or hear.
Right.
I mean,
no,
or smell.
Yeah.
See, taste, or smell.
Lost 3 of them.
Yeah.
Who shot you?
Some punk.
Really?
Chief of Police's son-in-law, actually.
Why?
They wanted to rob me.
Mm.
Well, actually, they did rob me.
He robbed you of everything.
Oh, yeah, a lot of, yeah. But it's weird because he's got some funky blood disease now, and he ought to be dead soon.
Oh, good.
So,
Yeah, let's hope he dies quickly. In fact, I don't understand why he didn't die after he shot you. Like, why didn't they put him to death?
Because he wasn't dead.
Chief of Police's son-in-law. He never went to jail.
He never went to jail for shooting you?
No.
That sounds weird.
I listened to heavy metal. It had to be satanic.
All right, hold on, okay? Hold on, we'll give you some tickets.
Love you, always.
All right, love you too. Oh, man, that's a bad scene. I don't want to hear about it. That's horrible. Let him go to Woodstock and trip. You know what? Make acid illegal for that guy. Yeah. Honestly. Don't even suggest to him that you're going to take his acid away from him. Let him be on heroin, acid, and crack all at the same time, if that's what helps him get through the day. Personally, I think I could not take LSD if I was that guy. I can't take LSD because I'm this guy. I can't even handle it.
You take it because you were that guy, or if you were that guy, why?
I can't even handle pot. Because when you're blind and, like I know what he means by liquid blackness. Because sometimes when my eyes are closed, like, there seems to be some motion in the blackness and everything. So I understand what he's saying, kind of. And then when you take acid, I imagine, again, acid is a very negative thing to me because I had a horrible experience with it.
Yeah.
And I know when I tried to close my eyes and shut it all out and go to sleep, the speed in the acid kept me awake. And in the blackness, I began to see so many hallucinations that it was like I can't keep my eyes open and I can't close my eyes, because then I opened my eyes to look at the clock and the clock started to fold in. So I got so freaked out whether they were closed or open that you can't escape it. I imagine. Yeah, and this guy's liquid blackness.
He can't open or, he can't do anything but be there.
There's no reality to check. I mean, you can't escape the blackness. And I just can't imagine. I mean, I would get caught up, but I can't escape the blackness. But listen, he likes it. He handles it, and I'm not going to sit there and screw with it. For crying out loud. Let the guy, I mean, he deserves to do whatever he wants. Right?
Absolutely.
Right. Donna, you're on the air.
Okay. Howard?
Yeah, baby.
I feel so bad for you. Nobody ever gives you any credit. CBS had sent out their, their monthly or whatever, their prospectus. But they list why everything's doing so well. The radio's doing very good, and they're getting into so many new markets. But they don't say it's because of you. Then they start talking about CBS TV, and they actually name names of the programs, like Touched by an Angel, but they don't mention you.
Right.
And how well the stock is doing since...
Well, listen, I have had a major part, not so much in the CBS, but Infinity and...
Yeah, they talked about...
I believe, listen, I don't need a brochure to give me credit. I think that with me, when they send out brochures, I'm so controversial that they kind of keep me quiet. So, what am I going to do? I mean, I think if I was acceptable, you wouldn't even like this show. So maybe it's a good sign they don't stick me in the brochure. You know what I mean? If I was doing everything that was so goddamn acceptable, even when I look at the attacks I'm under for Denver, that's okay, because I know in my heart, I was having a discussion like anybody would have a discussion on the day after a tragedy. I'm sure any of my comments were not mean-spirited or hurtful to the people of Denver or anybody else. But yet, the fact that I speak in a certain way, that I speak with a looseness and a quality that somehow connotes disrespect, I think that's beautiful. And I think if they start putting me in brochures that I'm some sort of acceptable figure, I'm not going to have an audience.
No, you won't be in brochures until you're dead.
Right. Oh, believe me, when I'm dead, One of the greatest Hollywood minds, and really one of the great philosophers of our time, John Stamos said to me.
John Stamos!
That's right. Just the other night in Los Angeles. John Stamos said to me, while we were at the Playboy Mansion.
He must be a philosopher because he's not acting anymore.
Me and John were at the Playboy Mansion in the grotto.
Oh, please.
And I was talking to him, and he says to me, he goes, I trade places with you in a minute. I said, now, wait a second.
To explain this to me.
No, you got to hear this. He says, I would trade places with you in a minute. And I said, why is that, John? And John said, look. I said, John, first of all, before you explain this to me, I said, remember, you're one of the best-looking guys on the planet.
You're gorgeous.
You're married to Rebecca Romaine Stamos. Thank God she has the same last name as you. How convenient.
Every model up to that point.
Yeah, and as he himself says, I've done everything there is to do. I said, you don't have to work daily. I mean, you've got enough money from your show Full House, and you're touring.
You just sit in the grotto.
Right, and you're touring with the Beach Boys. You have more than enough money. You have good looks. You got Rebecca Romaine Stamos. I said, why would you want to trade places with me? One of the most miserable men.
What is it about you?
He said, because you are going to have a place in history.
Ah.
And that's something I'll never have.
You mean Full House is not going to be...
Full House will not be remembered 100 years from now. I said, but you will. And I said, well, what good does that do me if I'm not a happy man while I'm alive? He goes, it doesn't matter. You've done something. It doesn't matter. And I said, where do we rub the genie lamp so we can switch places now?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, man, when he walks in, every chick's looking him over.
Yeah.
He looks cute as hell. I'd have sex with the guy.
You wanted to sleep with him.
He's very handsome. I even said to David Spade when we were at Mr. Chow's eating, I said, David...
You just really hobnobbed.
And I really had to whisper because his friend Larry Flynn Boyle, who was at the table at the time, said... I said, David...
Oh, my...
Yeah, I had a fun time out there.
Weekend.
I had a big Hollywood weekend. I had a Hollywood weekend. It was fun.
You deserve a good weekend.
Thank you, baby.
You really do. They had you in the Bergen Record also.
You know what?
Every paper this weekend, they had no news. There are 3 guys being released in Kosovo.
Right.
But they had to pick on you.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was a really fair article.
Oh, yeah, it was very positive.
I'm sure it was very positive.
They misquoted you a little bit, but they also said how, everybody be turning in Monday to hear you anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, in spite of himself.
Yeah, yeah. They'll have to tune in. Well, that is the weirdest thing about all of this. I forget again who the brilliant person was that said this to me years ago, that eventually with the fall of communism, what was going to happen is that we as a society would start to turn on our celebrities. Instead of communists, it would be celebrities. And I didn't understand it at the time, but it stuck in my mind. And now I get it.
It wasn't the great philosopher John Stamos?
It wasn't John Stamos who said it. It might have been Rebecca Romaine Stamos. But I don't remember exactly who said it, but it is the truth, and I see it. It's like everybody sort of enjoys this program, likes that it's there, but wants to take it down. Like, I know that the Denver newspaper and all these other newspapers, the Daily News, they want to take me down, but then if I wasn't here, they'd be the first ones to complain that the world was boring.
They'd like to chart your fall.
Yeah, they want to chart the fall because it would be a good story for the moment.
Right.
But then what would they do when I wasn't around for a couple of years and nobody was doing anything?
What they would do?
What?
They would lament it. They'd say, oh, we wish we had another Howard Stern.
Yeah, remember when Howard Stern...
killed him, and now we wish he was back.
And then they'd be going, I wonder what he would have said about the next tragedy that happened. So it's like, you know what, I'm not going to censor myself.
Time you wish there was.
Yeah, and I the station manager called me and I said, listen, take me off the air, do what you will, but I'm not changing the show. I said, A, I didn't do anything wrong, and blah, 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 blah. And that was it. What do you want, Casey?
What I was going to say, he's just doing work. What I was going to say before was in the Daily News, they were even comparing you to Lenny Bruce now. You're Lenny Bruce.
Oh, now I'm Lenny Bruce. No, I'll be Lenny Bruce when I'm drowned in a toilet head first.
I mean, you've already achieved that. It's like Lenny Bruce, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, and by the way, they all love Lenny Bruce now.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loves Lenny Bruce. And I'll be Lenny Bruce when I'm dead. But, you know, why didn't they treat Lenny Bruce good when he was alive? Then he wouldn't have been on drugs all the time.
Yeah, they could have helped him out just a little bit while he was being harassed by the government.
Yeah, not one newspaper sat and defended him. They just love to report on his downfall.
Now they'll tell you the whole story because it's a great story.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to try not to be Lenny Bruce. How's that? We'll try and stay alive. All right, thank you. Steve, go ahead.
Hey.
Yo.
Howard.
What?
Oh, my gosh. This is Steve. I'm calling from Denver. Crazy Steve. I've been listening to you 15 years. I've never called before. I've never got you on the phone. I feel it's my responsibility to show you my support, okay?
Yes.
You are the king of all media, not the self-proclaimed king of all media, the absolute king of all media.
All right, thank you. What do you want to say?
Well, I've been waiting 8 years for Denver to have some real radio. It's finally a real city, and now with all this press, I'm nervous they're going to pull you off the air. I mean, I was really glad to see you were on the air this morning.
Yeah, well, the station there, I hope, stays with me. I never know how people are going to react to controversy. The only thing I can say in my defense before everybody gets crazy here is that anything that's been written about me in the newspaper is just not true. Not that I didn't say what they said I'm saying, but I mean, anyone I know who heard the show, including, I was just listening to 2 guys from Chicago, Richard Roper, and I don't even know the other guy's name. I got to find it out. They were on TV and they were saying, we heard the well, you know, we heard what he was doing. He wasn't disrespectful. And so many people I know who actually listened to the show that morning called me, and not just people going to kiss my ass, but I'm talking about people I know personally. They just said, I heard the show. There was nothing going on. I said, I know. I said, I cannot believe this. I said, but 2 disc jockeys got a hold of tapes of me and played them over and over again and got a lot of people riled up. And now some sponsors have even canceled. I said, what can I tell you? I certainly hope the station in Denver sees through all this and somehow can put a spin on it for me and tell people out there that I've been railroaded.
Well, yeah, I'm totally shocked that this has been going on. I couldn't believe it.
Well, we'll talk about it more tomorrow because I got to get the news now, okay?
Well, you know what I want to do? I want to announce some phone numbers so that we could get some fans here to get some action. Because
what kind of phone numbers?
Slandering like you.
Phone numbers of who?
Well, number 1, the Rocky Mountain News, that moron Dusty Sanders.
Well, listen, he's looking to fill the newspaper. You know, you don't have to give out any numbers. You know what? I don't care. Let him take me off the air.
We need a rally here. We need something.
That's all right. Okay. Please, rally for a disc jockey? I don't think so. One guy said, when did Howard Stern become so important?
Well, yeah, they pointed it out. You're not the commentator of the Times.
I know. I'm like the new Will Rogers. I'm like the president. I'm like the president of the United States. Even this one guy said from Chicago, I think it was Richard Roper, said, you know, what is it, the state legislature condemn me? Because these people can't even pass a gay rights bill or proper gun legislation. What are they busy doing this for? Because it makes them feel good for the minute.
Or it makes them look like they're doing something.
Right.
Which is really nothing.
They did nothing.
Yeah.
They censured me or something, or whatever they did. You can't censure me, can you? That's what they did to the president.
And that without a trial.
Yeah. They can't impeach me, can they? But I've suddenly become Walter Cronkite Jr. or something. I'm so important.
You know, most days, nothing you say is important. But every once in a while, somebody decides.
I know. I want to speak to a guy, I don't know. This guy claims that the trench coat mafia called our show before the incident.
Really?
I don't know if this is a goof or what. Yeah, Bill.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, since you've been on in Denver, it's happened. I don't remember what time, but briefly, you know, when he called you, he briefly said who he was and what, you know, basically he wanted to do. And then, you know, you were upset about it, and you said, what's this society coming to?
Yeah.
And then, basically, you know, you said you weren't even on in Denver and stuff, and, you know, you probably, I think, did say, like, you were, and...
Yeah, really? I don't...
What day was that? Do you have any idea of the date?
No, ever since you've been on to Denver,
I barely hear this guy.
Like a month and a half ago.
But they identified themselves as the Trenchcoat Mafia?
I think he said he's something like a gang, and something like
You got roughly the date?
Like a month and a half ago.
Yeah, but you don't know that it was them. You're just
well,
guessing.
They didn't say Trenchcoat Mafia. They said a gang.
Yeah.
No. They said Trenchcoat Mafia. I remember because it was such a stupid name and stuff.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, I'll look it up.
And,
I can find it.
And you hung up on him when they...
Oh, I'm sure I did.
He's about to give out like a website or something and address.
They did have a website.
You hung up on him, and you were you're very good about it and stuff. But
yeah, I'll look it up.
Yeah, we have to look that up.
I did.
Speaking of the
Thanks for telling me that.
Mafia, since you brought him up,
yeah.
They're now speculating that Ed Harris, one of the shooters, was
good actor
down by a girl.
Wonder how Ed Harris, the actor, feels. You never like to see your name linked. Like if it was a Howard Stern mass murderer, I wouldn't feel too good about that.
Right.
Yeah. So Ed Harris was about to do what?
He had asked some girl to the prom, and she turned him down.
Yeah.
And so now she's wondering if she had anything to do with the rampage they went on a couple of weeks later. Like maybe she was one of those, you know, tip of the, final straw kind of people.
You better be careful, they'll sue her. They're suing everybody.
She's having all kinds of regrets and second thoughts, but, you don't think you'd have a good time with the guy, do you?
Isn't that kid's name Eric Harris?
It might be Eric.
Eric,
I'm sitting here looking at notes, so I might have gotten it wrong. So, Ed Harris, sorry for saying that. It's Eric Harris.
Right.
So,
Fred, your name's Eric, isn't it?
Maybe,
Questions.
What?
I have a trench coat, too. Any questions?
Yeah.
It was the
I don't doubt it.
Fred had his name. But anyway, they held the last memorial service in Denver over the weekend. Here's some natural sound of the hymns that were played or sung by the choir.
We are!
What is that?
Oh, that's a cheer.
That was at... What?
Yeah, they cheered and they sang hymns at the memorial service yesterday, and they are starting back to school today. So they're going to go to another high school. They will not be going to the high school that they originally went to. Number 16 is singing.
Oh, okay. I don't think so. But maybe. Jonathan Cohen was the guy's name?
Cohen sang yesterday at the memorial service.
Okay, good. All right.
Columbine, flower blue, tenderly I sing.
Who is this guy? Is he a famous guy?
Columbine.
Is he a famous guy?
No, he's one of the kids.
Oh.
Heartbreak overflows my head.
Well, there you
His
go.
brother wrote the song in memory of the shooting victims. And here's some of the people who spoke at the memorial service. Heather Dinkle is the student body president of the school.
What number?
Number 3.
You got a lot of tape here. Wow.
There's nothing we can say that has not already been said, and unfortunately, there's nothing we can do to make this nightmare end. But as we have said, and many have said, we must move on, but we shall never forget.
And this is one of the teachers, Beverly Williams.
I don't know. I couldn't move on. If that was my kid.
The Columbine staff and I would like to say to our very precious Columbine kids, thank you. You are our heroes.
Oh.
Well, the students have to go on, Howard. She's one of the kids.
Right.
Maybe you couldn't go on. Meanwhile, they had this National Rifle Association meeting out there, and everybody's been, screaming about gun control and rifles and guns and the NRA and how they always keep this legislation from going through Congress. And Charlton Heston went on TV yesterday.
He's got balls.
And he's still sticking to his guns.
All right.
And in some comments he made on ABC's This Week, he said there's no reasons for kids to be armed.
Just as you don't carry bombs or guns or even talk about bombs or guns before you get on an airplane, so that should be true in schools. There should be zero tolerance.
He's saying that
I wish somebody would...
There was the shooting here is no reason to, once again, turn on the lawful gun owner.
It'd be funny if Charlton Heston, somebody had a fishing pole and they put a hook on it, they hooked his wig and took it off while he was talking. It'd be funny. I don't know. Where's my wig?
As I said, the Columbine students are going back to school today. They're going to another high school that is close by to them, and they will be reunited with their teachers, and grief counselors will be on hand.
Right.